Good morning, boys and girls. Welcome to lesson 13. We are going to go ahead and get started. Don't forget, you need your word web. That is our daily tradition. We look up a word, we write the definition, a synonym, and we draw a small little picture to help us remember the definition. We also need our daily comprehension, our interactive journal. Remember, it has our anchor charts and the circulatory story, which is accessible through Teams. So today, boys and girls, we are going to look up the word aorta. So make sure you write the word here in your word web. And let's pull up our text. Okay, so we go all the way to the back of the glossary, and it is right here. And it is the body's largest artery through which blood travels from the left ventricle of the heart to the rest of the body, with the exception of the lungs. So I'm going to go ahead and give you 1 minute to copy that definition. Remember, it's the largest artery in the body. And it travels from the left ventricle of the heart to the rest of the body. So from your heart all the way to the body, except that means not your lungs. So you have 45 seconds left to copy the definition. Don't forget a very small picture to help you remember. So you could draw a little heart, and it goes from there to the rest of the body. 30 seconds. You have 20 seconds. Last 10 seconds. And if you finish with your word web, make sure you have your book in front of you. And time is up. Let's go ahead and continue. Okay, so lesson 13, student will be able to summarize the main idea of a section using the circulatory story. Boys and girls, we have found the main idea of sections of the book. Remember, section is just a certain page. We have not finished the whole story, so we cannot summarize, we cannot find the meaning of the whole story or summarize the whole selection. So instead, we are going to summarize. That means we're going to write the most important information of a section. So our key points for main idea, remember, it's the who or what and what about it. Don't forget, we have to provide supporting details, and we always use text evidence. That means that we go back to the book and we support our answer. Remember, what is a great heart? Literally, we have learned that a great heart literally is strong. It is a muscle. And we are going to be reading pages 24 through 27, so make sure your book is in front of you. You are following along while I read. And we are on page 24, and we are in the one that the heading says, Human, we have a problem. So I can already see little white things coming and saying, get them. So I'm wondering what this section is about. Here you are in the right leg, ready to return to the heart. But look out, there's an army of leukocytes, aka white blood cells, headed to your way. What on earth is going on? The white blood cells are responding to a cut on the leg. Oh, boys and girls, so what are these little white things that have a little mean face? They're called white blood cells. Better stand back. These white blood cells are going to engulf the invading bacteria that have made their way into the body through the skin. The rod-shaped bacteria could cause an infection to the body. So I know, boys and girls, that when I fall, if you've ever fallen, I'm sure you have, you get a little cut. So guess what is trying to prevent any bacteria from going in? We just learned about them. What are they called? White blood cells. Yes, they're helping your body. And look what it says here. Look at what the author did to this illustration. It's having the red blood cell. Finally, the red blood cell gets to sit down and stop for a second and enjoy the battle. But do they mean literally there's a battle going on? No, right? It's just a figurative speech saying that the white blood cells are going to attack anything that wants to come in. So look at what the little green creature is saying. Wow, this is even more exciting than Spider Dude 5. So he's sitting down, eating his popcorn because he doesn't have to do anything. The white blood cells have to. Go Army! So I know this whole section is not literally going to be about an army, but about an army of white blood cells that are going to protect your body. Good. White blood cells are one of the three components of blood. Like red blood cells, they usually travel through the bloodstream. Unlike red blood cells, troops of white blood cells can move through the tissue into parts of the body. Don't look for these cells to be dressed in camouflage, though. Not all these soldiers look alike. Some, like macrophages and B cells, look different from each other and do different jobs. Like an army, macrophages increase in number, surround the invader, and destroy the bad guys. Keep up the good work, Mac. B lymphocytes or B cells are other kind of white blood cells. They make antibodies, chemicals that help protect you against certain diseases. Antibodies also give you immunity from that disease, meaning they help prevent you from getting it again. So boys and girls, what helps your body? What protects it? So little white blood cells or B cells or B lymphocytes, they help your body. Remember, they make antibodies. And what does that mean? Look at this. The author included this little dash to tell you what are antibodies. So they're chemicals that help protect you against certain diseases. Some of us don't get sick as other of us. For example, when flu season comes around, some of us get sick right away. So that means your white blood cells, maybe they're a little low, or they're not as strong fighting it, or you don't have that antibody yet. So look what it says. Antibodies give you immunity from that disease, meaning they help prevent you from getting again. So usually once you get sick from the flu, you probably won't get it again. So because now you know that it gives you immunity. Antibodies, they help you, they protect you. So look at this. Look at what the author did. And this illustration is showing. So we could already start inferencing that this green thing is what? This is probably the bacteria, right? Trying to go inside of your body, and look what's happening. All these little white blood cells are attacking. They are not little soldiers. They're just figurative. The author's trying to make a point that they're attacking the bacteria. Look how vicious they're attacking him. Everybody running at him from all different angles. That pus, Gus. So I know this section is going to be talking about pus. Yes, boys and girls, once you fall, you cut yourself, more than likely. If you don't clean it correctly, you're going to get pus. If not cared for properly, some cuts may get infected. A yellowish fluid called pus can indicate infection. A cut with pus needs proper medical help. To help prevent infections, wash the cut with soap and water, then cover it with a bandage. Boys and girls, so we know that what? This whole section was about pus. And how is pus formed, or what about pus? It gets formed when you don't clean it correctly, right? So if that happens, what did the author tell me to do? So if I keep scrolling down, I know he told me to wash with soap and water. So look at her. She's saying thanks. And there's that little rock that tripped her. Clot a lot. What a battle. All of this action is happening. More troops, platelets, the last of three components of blood, arrive on the scene. These little guys, with the help of special fibers called fibrin, help to form a clot that stops the blood from flowing out of the wound. Soon the clot becomes a scab, which gives the damaged skin time to heal. Don't pick at it. You know, boys and girls, when you fall and you cut yourself and then you finally wash it with soap and water, you finally get a little scab and you were trying to pick at it, trying to take it off. Well, don't do that. Why? Look at what the author just told us. It's a protection so that more bacteria doesn't go in. So what is this text feature called? The one that labels. So yes, this is a diagram. In this diagram, the author is showing me what's happening under the bandage. So we can see that there's a cut. There's the white blood cells trying to prevent any bad bacteria from coming in. These are the red blood cells minding their own business. The platelets are trying to cover it up. The fibrin just formed. So it's that little scab that you see on the top of your skin. It's not pretty, but it's helping your body protect itself from any bacteria that wants to come inside of here. So next time you get cut, don't mess with your scab, because then you're going to get an infection. And look what the author says. They're good as new. And what did the author also use? Look what they did. They did this bandage and then they zoomed it in. What text feature is that? So that text feature is called a close-up. It's like we're getting a magnifying glass and we're going inside of there and we can see it bigger. Okay, boys and girls, so let's go ahead and get started. Remember, we start with our name, date, and go. We are on lesson 13, so just make sure and label it. Make sure you're using the back of all the pages. I like to use the back because I don't waste any paper. So we're going to be working on pages 24 to 25, which is what we just read, where it says human, we have a problem. And remember to find the main idea or what the section is mostly about. So I'm going to put here a reminder for myself. Remember, I write, you write. Mostly about is the same as the main idea. So some of you are getting really good at main idea. But yes, I still wanted to write this. Mostly about is the same as main idea. So remember, what two questions do we ask? The who or what, and what about it? And what other thing do I need? I need a supporting detail. Remember, supporting detail comes straight from the text. It's textual evidence. So remember, a good reader goes back. I'm going to go ahead and park my pen. We go back and reread. Human, we have a problem. Here you are in the right leg, ready to return to the heart. But look out, there's an army of leukocytes, aka white blood cells, headed your way. What on earth is going on? The white blood cells are responding to a cut in the leg. Better stand back. These white blood cells are going to engulf the invading bacteria that have made their way into the body through the skin. The rot-shaped bacteria could cause an infection in the body. Boys and girls, what is this section talking about? So if you said leukocytes or white blood cells, you are correct. Okay, let's go ahead and start. Is it a who or a what? It is a what. So let's go ahead and put here, it's about the white blood cells. Now you can also go ahead and write leukocytes because that's the actual name of them. So yes, if you wrote leukocytes, you are correct. Now, what about them, boys and girls? So let's go ahead and start to the next page. Go Army! White blood cells are one of three components of blood. Like red blood cells, they usually travel through the bloodstream. Unlike red blood cells, troops of white blood cells can move through the tissue into the parts of the body. Don't look out for these cells to be dressed like camouflage though. Not all soldiers look alike. Some, like macrophages and B cells, look different from each other and do different jobs. Like an army, macrophages increase in numbers, surround the invader and destroy the bad guys. Keep up the good work, Mac. B lymphocytes and B cells are other kind of white blood cells. They make antibodies, chemicals to help protect you against certain diseases. Antibodies also give you immunity from that disease, meaning they help prevent you from getting it again. So white blood cells, what about them? What do they do? What do they prevent? So they protect. What are they protecting you against? Against bacteria, right? So let's go ahead and write that down. So I'm going to go ahead and write certain diseases. So I know right now we're living in the, let me move this. We're living in the COVID-19, right? Some of us stay at home. We're trying to be safe, keep our social distances. So yes, what is helping us in case that we do get it, fight COVID? So let's say that you were to contract COVID from someone else. What did the author just tell us that's going to help us? White blood cells, right? White blood cells are going to attack COVID that just came into your body and they're going to try to not let him come in at all, right? So that's why white blood cells are very, very important. Now, let's go ahead and complete that sentence. So, white blood cells protect against certain diseases. I have my complete sentence, boys and girls. Am I finished? Absolutely not. I need a supporting detail. Now, if the text told me that it protects me against certain diseases. What can I write here? Why is that important? What is it giving my body? Remember, if I don't want to get it again, what is that called? It gives my body antibodies. So let's go ahead and write that. Gives the body antibodies. That means kind of like flu season is coming in. You got it once. Now your white blood cells helped you protect. Now it's going to give you immunity from getting it again. So more than likely, you won't get it. Of course, your body or your system, everyone's different. You might get it, but more than likely you won't. All right. So great job finding the main idea and the supporting details for page 24 and 25. I want you to do a little squiggly line or just a line if that's fine if you can't do it. I want you to put here, we are going in class, when you go back, we are going to summarize in 2 to 3 sentences. So we're going to summarize using 2 to 3 sentences. We're going to do this once we get to class. So for now, I just want you to write it like this, page 24 to 27. Now this is everything that we've read. So I'm going to give you 30 more seconds to go ahead and write this. Let me start my timer. Let me just move the book over. There you go. So remember, in class today, we're going to work on summary. If you're finished writing this, you have 15 seconds. If you're finished, go ahead and take out your daily comprehension. And we're going to get started. You have the last 5 seconds. And time. Go ahead and close it. Just put it to the side for now because we are going to need it in class when you go to the live session. Okay, boys and girls, so you should have Thursday in front of you because today is Thursday. I want you to write here that we're going to use page 6 of the circulatory story, which looks like this. Now, the heading of that section is Saddle Up That Cell, so I'm going to go ahead and write it here. So, saddle up that cell. Why am I writing it in quotations, boys and girls? Because it's the name of the section. Okay, so when we synthesize, remember, we get what the author told us and we make a new understanding. That doesn't mean that we write every single word. We write important information, so we're taking notes of important information, and then we make a new understanding using our own words. So right here, we're going to write our own words. Let me go ahead and zoom in. So from that section, remember, a good reader goes back and rereads. So saddle up that cell. See that red thing that looks like an inner tube without the hole? It's an erythrocyte, and it's one of the 3 cellular components or formed elements of blood. We'll meet the other components later. An erythrocyte is also known as a red blood cell, and it's your right. The red blood cell is just one of millions found in a drop of blood. These carry oxygen. No, they don't carry it in a suitcase or a backpack. Instead, the oxygen attaches to a chemical called hemoglobin that's found in red blood cells. With hemoglobin's help, blood can transport oxygen to all parts of the body, including cells and tissues, which need a constant supply of oxygen, O2, in order to work. Nice job, Red. Okay, boys and girls, so we're only going to get important information. What is this whole section about? What is it mostly about? I even talked about it in the heading. It showed me an illustration. So what is it mostly about? It's about red blood cells. Okay, so let's go ahead and look here. I'm going to copy this sentence. So I'm going to put it's an erythrocyte. I'm going to use quotations because I'm copying exactly what the author wrote. So it's an erythrocyte. One of 3 cellular components. Now, if you notice, I'm not writing perfect in the lines, which is okay. We just want to gather important information and make a new understanding. So it's an erythrocyte. Remember, another word for erythrocyte is a red blood cell. Okay. What do they do, boys and girls? What did the author tell me that the red blood cells do? So they carry oxygen. So let's go ahead and write it here. Red blood cells carry oxygen. Okay. What other thing did the author tell me the red blood cells do that's very important? Where do they take that oxygen to? To all parts of the body. Okay, let's write it here. So it takes oxygen to all parts of the body. So I'm going to go ahead and give you 30 seconds to copy that before we move on to the next slide, which says a new understanding. So 30 seconds. So set up that cell, that's the name of our heading. And then what I did is I gathered important information the author gave me and wrote it. I used quotations when I copied word by word. So it's an erythrocyte, one of 3 cellular components. The author told me that. And then as I kept reading, I know that red blood cells carry oxygen and they take it to all parts of the body. These don't have quotations because I use my own words. So you have the last 5 seconds. And time. Okay, so what can we put all of this information the author just gave me into my own words? Can we say that red blood cells don't matter to our body? No, right? We can't say that because the author didn't say that. Okay, I know that it's talking about red blood cells. Let's start our sentence with red blood cells. So red blood cells. Okay, what other thing can we add about red blood cells? Okay, so red blood cells are very, I'm going to underline very important to our bodies. Remember, the author told me that it takes oxygen to all parts of the body. So my understanding is that red blood cells are very important to our bodies in order to deliver oxygen. Because boys and girls, can we live without oxygen? Absolutely not. So my understanding is that red blood cells are very, very important, so we underline it twice, to our bodies in order to deliver oxygen. And I'm going to add here, without oxygen, I can't live. And I'm going to underline that 3 times because without oxygen, I can't live. That's how much and important red blood cells are to our body. That's what the author told me. Of course, he used different words, but my understanding is without red blood cells, without delivery of oxygen, I cannot function. So I'm going to give you 1 minute to go ahead and copy everything in case you need to catch up. So remember, when we synthesize, we take what the author told us and we say, okay, well, based on the evidence, we know that, and then red blood cells are very important to our bodies to deliver oxygen. Without oxygen, we cannot live. You have the last 20 seconds. If you are finished copying this, you may close this. Remember, when you get to class, you are going to need to work on pages 24 to 27. You're going to summarize 2 to 3 sentences in your notebook. You have 30 seconds. Sorry, the last 20 seconds. Last 10 seconds. And time is up. Go ahead and park your pencil. Okay, boys and girls, and don't forget, before you go, have your homework ready to check with your red pen if you have one. You're due now. Your composition book and your circulatory story should be in front of you. I will see you in class.